Yo, what's up, film and welcome back to the Dark Mode channel. My name is Toby, and today, well, this is the part 2 of another video that I did a couple of days ago, ranking most of the movies I've seen this year. This isn't the full list of movies I've seen this year because I have a letterboxd list that I've put every movie I've watched this year in and ranked them. The link is down in the description if you want to see the full list. But for this particular video, or both my videos, I'll be ranking them in different categories. All you can see right over there. I've already done honorable mentions, best sequel, best biopics, and best comic book movies of the year. So all of those are in part 1, as you can see and link down in the description. But now let's get to the part 2 of ranking all the movies. For the most surprising movies of the year, I have 11 movies on my list. And starting off with Barbie. This made the most surprising list because, look, I didn't think it would fail or something like that. I just didn't think it was for me. And when I checked it out the next day, because I did not watch Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day. I couldn't look. It's one is a 3-hour long movie. One is a 2 hours. Don't quote me on that or something like that, but I can't remember. But I did not think it would be for me, but I end up actually kind of liking it. I think I gave it a 7 out of 10 or something like that, and it was just very fun, but also has some dark themes on there with grief, depression, all of those, and some great musical scores too. So overall, I didn't know that I would care for a Barbie movie, but it was fun. Now for top 10, I would say Tetris. And from the last video, this is the first biopic I've ever watched, and that's why it made the most surprising list. I did not think I would love the biopics or anything. I was checking out, like, scrolling through things to watch, like, okay, Tetris, what is this about? Like, I was like, the selling of Tetris, I was like, this sounds the boring as f***. But I watched it, and dude, it was amazing. It was phenomenal. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Now, number 9, we have Gran Turismo. I rewatched it, I want to say 3-4 days ago, and it was still amazing. The cinematography is fantastic. Like, all those, like, video, like I said in one of my other reviews of this movie, most of these movies I actually have reviews on. You can check out on my channel, but I think I said something about having these, like, video game pop-ups and stuff like that, and it does have that, like, video gameism, I guess. Video gameism, it's not a word, but I'm making it a word now. Hell, fuck it, I'm making it. It's a word now, okay? Put it in the dictionary. I just still really enjoyed it. The story was it really, like, surprising. A person that played Gran Turismo turned into a real life racer. That's just the whole premise of that. Was just insane, honestly. It was just so surprising to me. Now, number 8 is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. I know what it is, I just don't get it. I don't understand it or anything. But when the first trailer dropped, I thought it was looking decent. It was like, alright, Lord of the Rings kind of like dragony Game of Thrones, I mean, kind of stuff. Like, okay, this looks looking fun, you know, I'll check it out in theaters. And when I checked it out in theaters, I had a blast watching it. Love the comedic things, but also like the everything was so great about it. Like everything was great. I absolutely love the performances. The action in this movie was great. The suspense, everything was phenomenal, and I would definitely recommend you guys check this out at least one time. Now for number 7, I'm going with Godzilla -1. I am a fan of Godzilla movies, but I wasn't really interested in watching this. Just hear me out before you click off the video. Before you click out of the video. It was in Japanese. No. I know. No. I have dyslexia. So, dyslexia. Whatever you call it. I don't fucking know. But, look. I know. It's a bit hard for me to read. It's alright, okay? It's alright. I can read, okay? I can read. Just sometimes difficult. Not all the time. I've learned to overcome it. And it is easier for me to read. So, seeing this basically just being a book, it was interesting, but not like way too interesting. And when I checked it out, it was phenomenal. Loved how badass Godzilla was. Loved that they focused a lot on the more of the human side of things and having actual good humans, you know, good story for the humans, unlike the Monsterverse. But they had a great story for the humans this time around, and loved a lot about it. Like, especially the visuals are really great, made by only $15 million. I mean, sometimes the visuals can be a bit jarring, like, what did I just watch? But it's not like the Flash level or anything like that spent fucking 300 million on that shit. And this looks better. 15 million. I just spat all over things. Holy shit. For my number 6, I have Megan, the Killer Doll by Blumhouse. When I first heard about this, I was really intrigued about it. I was like, okay, this could be fun. And I heard like R-rated. Holy shit, okay, R-rated. This is going to be fun as hell. And then the TikTok kids are really just like, okay, now going to influence Blumhouse to make it PG. I'm sorry, I probably pissed off a lot of people right now. But that's why I made it on the most surprising list. Was because of that it was going to be a PG-13 movie, and I was nothing wrong with horror movies being PG-13. Have you looked at Insidious? Have you looked at what else are we? Conjuring? I think that's also a PG-13. A lot of like psychological horrors like that. But I think Megan should have been R-rated. And don't get me wrong, I actually do have the R-rated version somewhere around behind me right there. But I do have the unrated version, R-rated version. I'm definitely going to check it out one day. I'm definitely going to check it out someday. But the film itself was really fun. I loved watching it in theaters, even though it was PG-13. I think Megan the doll was very interesting, and the story itself was also very interesting. So it was really fun to watch in theaters. Now for my number 5, it's The Creator. It only made my most surprising list because of, you know, it was my 3rd most anticipated of the year, or next year, because it's coming out. This is coming out probably the 2nd of. I'm filming it the 1st of January, but it still was so good. I was just excited about it. It looked decent and pretty fun, but I did not know it would be this good, you know? I thought it would be like very entertaining, but this surprised me a lot on how good it actually was. Loved the whole premise, loved the visuals are fantastic on an $80 million budget, and the story is fantastic. Now for number 4, I have The Killer. Streaming, I saw it on Netflix, and this was so good. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I wasn't really too excited about it. I saw maybe poster or two about it, nothing else. And the action, and this was actually the first David Fincher movie I've ever watched. So this was so good. I've of course watched more now, but it was still so good. The Killer, the action was phenomenal. Premise was good. The acting was fantastic. Love the whole like narration type stuff. All the dialogue almost happening just in his mind, and I love that. So it was definitely worth a watch. Now for number 3, it's going to Sound of Freedom. I'm putting out this list because even for its hard premise, like it's very bad, of course. Of course it's very bad. It's terrible what the whole like theme of this is. But I wanted to talk about it because it was a great message to spread, you know. It's a great message. No, don't interpret it wrong. It's a great message to help stop this thing, okay? But I did not know anything about it. The only thing I knew before watching it was the theme and probably what's going to happen in the movie, and that is it. Didn't see any trailers or anything, and I almost went into this movie completely blind. So going out of the cinema on that one, I was filled with emotions. I was crying 100%, and maybe it wasn't tears, but at least inside I was crying. But the whole movie itself was a great message to help stop it, and the performances was fantastic. Now for number 2, it was Saw X. I'm only putting on the most surprising list because of one reason only. First off, I will say that ever since I saw these movies from like 2021, I think I binge watched every movie, and then I heard a new movie was coming out this year. Past year, yeah, 2023. I was so hyped. I was really hyped for it. But then you ask, then Toby, why is it on your most surprising list? You didn't whatever. I thought the third, like, Jigsaw spot. I mean, I enjoyed Jigsaw, but I will say the 7 movie, it was okay. It was decent, but it was not great. So I did lose a bit of hype for it, you know. And same with like the Gran Turismo, or not, same with like Creator or something like that. I thought it would be good, but not this good, because I loved that movie. I loved Saw X. Loved the gore. Loved how focused John Kramer was. You know, it was just a John Kramer story. Loved it, how personal that was. And I cannot wait for Saw 11. I think it's coming out this year, right? I'm pretty sure. I don't know. And now for number 1, it's going to Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, that is right in my background, right there on Steelbook, actually. So I remember watching that first trailer, and I was like, what the fuck was this? What is this? I'm never going to watch this movie. little did past me, no, this is my favorite movie now, you know. And yes, it actually is. It's my favorite movie of all time now, so don't shame me. That's my personal opinion. and I just absolutely loved everything about it. I mean, the first trailer I wasn't too excited about. The second trailer, I will say, the second trailer got me more hyped. It definitely wasn't like too excited about Oppenheimer. I was like, okay, sure, I'll sit down and watch it. Will it be good? I do not think so. But little did I know it was so fucking good. And the Trinity test got to be one of the best scenes of all of cinema. I'm sorry, yes, one of the best scenes of all cinema. And I will say the direction of Christopher Nolan, actually my first ever Christopher Nolan film. So direction of him, I loved it. And that's why I'm choosing him as like a kind of example when I tell people I want to become a filmmaker. I would say something like I want to become a filmmaker like Christopher Nolan or something like that. Not exactly like him, of course, but because he uses a lot of like not practical effects, and I loved the practical effects he did on Oppenheimer, you know, and just the performances of Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Mr. Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, Florence Pugh was amazing, Cassie Affleck. All of these people were so great in this movie, and the cinematography was especially fantastic. And now for a topic that I say I specialize in, I guess, when I say I do filmmaking and stuff like that. And that is horror. There were some fucking-tastic horror movies this year. And I cannot include everything, but this is my top 10. It is going to The Nun 2. And I know The Nun 2 might not be the best, like, best in the Conjuring franchise or anything, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I will say I love the Conjuring franchise, and what James Wan have created there is fantastic. So seeing another movie, did we need a sequel to The Nun? Maybe not, but still, it was so fun. I loved this movie, and I love this movie, and I love the creepy things. I loved Val herself. All the performance was great. The story was great, and I think the only negative was that in my theater there was a girl or fucking woman that was screaming and screaming and screaming with every little thing, and I was beginning to think that she was just kind of doing it on purpose. It sounded like she was doing it on purpose, so that definitely took my cinema experience, I guess, down a bit. Now for number 9, it is going to be Evil Dead Rise. I was so hyped about this movie whenever I heard another Evil Dead movie was coming out. I absolutely love that the Evil Dead franchise. So great, and I really enjoyed it a lot. But the only negative for me was it was actually a bit overhyped. And now for number 8, I'm going with The Last Voyage of Demeter. I love the different take on Dracula this time. And I love how it was just the premise was just the people was trapped on a boat in the middle of the sea, and then Dracula shows up. It was just so fun, and the performances was great. I loved the creepy and eerie and scary things that happened. Love the gore, and I can't credit Andre Øvredal enough. And if you do not know what the fuck I just said there, he's Norwegian, and as many people know, and as my fellow subscribers and as my fellow subscribers and supporters out there know, that I'm Norwegian. I'm from Norway, so So seeing another Norwegian filmmaker actually doing good in like in the cinema and film. I mean, he made Autopsy of Jane Doe, Scary Two Stories Until the Dark, and Last Voyage of the Meteor, and then the Troll Hunter or Trolljägaren, and that's kind of that is the it's just shocking, and I absolutely love seeing this movie, and just a big applause for Andrea Övredal. And then for my number 7th, it's going to Scream 6. Look, I know about like Scream 7, and as I said in the last video, if you give me the rights, I will say, I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't know, but I'm actually writing the script for Scream 7. Just for fun, of course, just for fun. You know, I'm not going to publish it or anything. I mean, if you want me to publish it, you know, maybe like on my community post or something like that, of course I will do it, you know. But I'm actually making it right now. And it's just my interpretation, of course. It's nothing official or anything, you know. It's a non-official thing, you know. And all rights goes to, of course, the studios and people behind it, of course. But again, give me the rights and I'll make it. Anyways, this move, talking about Scream 6, it was so entertaining. Seeing Ghostface in New York was fantastic. All the gory things was fantastic. The suspense was fantastic. And Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega was great. Of course, the returning cast was very great. Kirby and Gail Weathers. And I think the only negative for me was that ending mimicking and other films in the past. Now for my number 6, it's going to be Renfield. All I'm going to say is Dracula played by Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage as Dracula and Nicholas Hoult as his assistant. I mean, it was just so entertaining to watch, and the comedy actually worked for me. Maybe it's not perfect, or it has some flaws, 100%, but I found it to be enjoying, so I kind of overlooked every flaw, you know. I loved watching it, and the bloody CGI things was great. And now for number 5, it's going with Megan, and again, I loved seeing a killer doll movie. I loved seeing a killer doll movie, and this robotic thing was really great. Love the performances, love the little gore we got, I guess. And yeah, the story was great. The premise was very great. I loved it. And the story, the writing was great too. Now for number 4, it's going with Totally Killer. And look, all I need to say, I mean, think Back to the Future mixed with Scream. And what more could I say? Go watch it, you know, it's so entertaining. Maybe it's not perfect or anything, but I absolutely loved watching it. I had a blast watching it. Now for number 3, I have Talk to Me. Finally, YouTubers proved themselves to actually be great filmmakers. With Danny and Michael Philip. Well, anyways, this was so great. I absolutely loved it. Loved how the whole premise of it. Loved the acting, the creepy and gory things that happens in this movie was fantastic. Love the original idea of this, and I cannot wait if they're making a sequel or prequel. Fantastic. Now for number 2, I have Thanksgiving. When I watched it, it was so fun. I just absolutely loved it. It just really takes every trope of horror and just execute it to the max. And I mean, is it something new? Yeah, maybe not. But Does it have great kills and it's directed by Eli Roth? Yes, so yeah, yeah, got you there. It is directed by Eli Roth, same guy who made Green Inferno, or the Hostel movie, and Knock Knock, and apparently making the Borderlands movie coming out this year. So that's fun. But talking about Thanksgiving, the kills, especially the kills, was just so fucking good. And now for my number one, it's going to be Saw X. Seeing Jigsaw back on the big screen, even though I did not watch it in cinemas, was just so good. I absolutely loved it. The gore, the traps was interesting, and the most personal story yet was interesting. And the acting, I loved how the main villain was Norwegian. Maybe self-pity there, but like, Norway. But I loved it. "2023 has been a great year for horror. Many movies. But there were some stinkers. Coming up at number 5, we have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. While I did think it was decent and enjoyable and watchable, is it one of the best in the franchise? Not at all. Is it, it's better than Crystal Skull, I will say. But it was definitely a step down from the other ones, except for Crystal Skull, of course. And the whole story was just so messy. And especially that third act was also just messy, and I did not like the turning over to the paranormal kind, not paranormal, but kind of paranormal kind of stuff like that, time travel shit like that. I did not like that. Coming up on number 4, we have Cobweb. I was so intrigued by this movie. It looked decent, and when I watched it, I was liking it. I was like, okay, cool, this pretty decent, just decent generic horror movie, and then the ending just ruined everything for me. There was something about that ending it was kind of just abrupt, and it did not work for me. Now for my number 3, it's going with Strays. I'm normally liking these kind of ranchy, childish, humor-ish, a lot of inappropriate jokes and stuff like that, movies about that. But with this one, it was really a disappointment for me. I did not have the best time. I was laughing. To be honest, I didn't laugh one time. I love the Ted movies and stuff like that, but this one was just something different. I mean, the casting and voice acting was always funny, but that ending with that ending was just so weird, and overall, it wasn't enjoyable. Now for my number 2, it's going to 65. To be honest, I did kinda know that it should have been bad, but I went into this movie okay, sure, this could be fun, a sci-fi dinosaur movie. It looks fun, and it was just such a disappointment that I came out of this and I was like, I kind of regret watching it. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was enjoyable and it was watchable enough. Really, this is just way too generic, and it wasn't something new. It wasn't too great. I mean, Adam Driver was great in this movie, and Ariana Greenblatt was also great. But it was just not for me. But now, number 1, probably one of the most disappointing movies I've ever seen, and that was Insidious: The Red Door. I watched every single Insidious movie right before watching this, and I had a blast. I actually really love all of them. For me, the first and second are tied for the first place. But this movie they spent half of this movie, actually almost the entire movie, just recapping the first two movies. And I don't have a problem with films recapping a bit, you know, but don't make it the whole ass fucking movie, please. And they say the Red Door is a finale for the Lambert family, and it isn't even a finale. This isn't a finale. I feel like even I could have made a better ending than this. I really could made a better ending. But now for my guilty pleasure movies. And coming up at my number 8 spot, it's going to The Pope's Exorcist. I found it enjoyable. Many people do not really like this time style. This was my first ever Exorcist movie type thing in theaters, and I had a blast watching it. Now coming up at my number 7, it's The Nun 2. Like I said before, I love the Conjuring franchise, so seeing The Nun back, first time seeing a Conjuring movie actually on the big screen, I was so hyped, and it kind of lived to the hype. Now for number 6, it's going to The Flash. And a lot of people actually, maybe it's a bit overhyped, with James Gunn saying it's the best comic book movie you've ever seen. It's not, but it was so entertaining. I know the CGI was terrible, but it was so entertaining, and the story was really good, and it was just entertaining as hell. And now for my number 5 spot, it's going to Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. This came out in just a couple of weeks ago. But it made the list because it's entertaining. It is entertaining. Same with The Flash. The CGI isn't too great, but it's still a great story, great characters. I love also Patrick Wilson in this one, and Randall Park was also great. I think the biggest negative for me is Jason Momoa is being a little too much goofy and comedic on this one. Now for my number 4, it's going to Haunted Mansion. Look, I've been a fan of the Haunted Mansion for so many years now. I grew up with the original Eddie Murphy one, so seeing another remake of Haunted Mansion was just so great, and I loved it. The characters, the story was great, and the horror elements was great. I just absolutely loved it. And now for my number 3, it's going with Renfield. I see a lot of people hating on this, and it doesn't deserve it. Nicolas Cage is great. Nicholas Hoult was fantastic. The bloody, gory things in this movie was also fantastic, and the story itself was so fun. Now for my number 2, it's going to Asteroid City. And I watched this out of curiosity. This is the first ever film I watched by Wes Anderson, and it was very interesting, but also very good at the same time. And I love the color palette and the technical aspect of this was great. The acting was so great, and the story itself was weird and out of the blue, but it was so fun. Now for my number 1 though, it's going to Five Nights at Freddy. Many people are hating on this, but this is so fun. I absolutely loved watching this movie in the theaters. I even saw it 2 times, and 2 times home, so I've seen it 4 times now, and I still love it as much as I do. Matthew Lillard was perfect as Steve Raglan. You'll know that's not true, but Elizabeth Leigh was great, Piper Rubio was great, and Josh Hutcherson was fantastic in this movie. And now, the moment we have all been waiting for. The best movies of 2023 as a whole, overall. Starting up at my top 10, it's going to Creed 3. I absolutely loved it. Michael B. Jordan as a director, I love his directing style, and I can't wait for the fourth movie. Even though, do we need it? Maybe not, but it's so fun, I guess. And the boxing sequences are fantastic in this movie. The acting, of course, the whole story is also fantastic. Now for my number 9, it's going with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, dude, like I said in the past video, this is one of the greatest comic book movies. This is one of the greatest comic book movies ever, because the team and the lead up and the actual story, with also a great ending to the Guardian trilogy, it was perfect. And now for number 8, it's going to Totally Killer. I absolutely had a blast watching this movie. And Back to the Future and Scream, what more do you need? It was just a ton of fun. And I think everyone should watch it. And now for my number 7, it's going to Talk to Me. Again, this is so original, and it proves that YouTubers can actually be great filmmakers. And it was just so original and fun, and so creepy at the same time. I love it. And the suspense, the pacing was great, the ending was even better, and I just had a blast watching it. Now for my number 6 spot, it's going to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I absolutely love that movie because whilst it is a part 1, it really feels like a complete story. Not a complete story, but that movie, it isn't like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where it's just kinda cut off abrupt, or Fast and Furious. But this is so good, and it was so fun to watch. And all the action sequences, and knowing that Tom Cruise actually does that in real life, that man is just crazy as fuck. And I love the stunts in My Country. Of course, the motorcycle thing is actually filmed in My Country, and I loved it. And the whole train sequence, fighting on top of the train and stuff like that, it was so great. And I actually filmed in My Country, so that's great. Now for my top 5, it's actually going to Wonka. This was so fun. I absolutely loved it. A great film. And what Paul King did in that movie was so fun. And it was so great. Love the performances of Timothée Chalamet, Keegan-Michael Key, Kyle Lane, Hugh Grant. All of those people were just so amazing. I loved the musical scores in this movie. And now for my number 4 spot, it's going to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This is one of the best comic book movies ever made. One of the best. I absolutely loved it. The performances, of course, is great, but what's even better is the animation. The animation is so unique. It mixtures 3D animation, 2D animation, all animation styles into one. Even Lego animation. Like, it is so entertaining, and if you haven't yet watched it, you need to watch it. Now for my number 3 spot, it's going to Thanksgiving. And again, this movie is so fun. It mixtures all the horror elements. It is so fun that I just had a blast watching it, and I can't wait for the sequel. And now for number 2, it's going to Saw X. And again, as I said many times, John Kramer as the main lead is just fantastic. The traps are even better. I love the eye-sucking trap, and all the other surprises I had in the movie was so fucking good. And that ending was fantastic. And then number 1 movie of the year for me. I mean, if you already know me, you got to know what I'm going. And let's say in 3, 2, 1, Oppenheimer. Yeah, hopefully you guys said Oppenheimer, right? Right? You said Past Lives. I haven't even seen that one. Pathetic. Not all seriousness, this is one heck of a film. Absolutely loved it. I mean, every performances from Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, and Matt Damon. Heck, even the Norwegian in this movie was so great. So, and that Trinity test, everything leading up to the Trinity test, and everything after the Trinity tests, every single detail of the story was so captivating. I even have the steelbook, I even have the screenplay. It is just a fantastic film. But hey, that's just my opinion. Of course, you can have a totally different opinion. Let me know what's your top 5 or 10 best movies of the year, or if you want to rank them same as the categories, write them down in the description and I'll check it out and I'll probably respond and let's have a conversation. It's always fun. And I'll say will be my last video before I go on my break. You can check out my latest video on that if you want to know more why I'm doing it. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.